My name is Sage Rivera, and for 33 years, I've been the survivor of a family that revolved around my mother's narcissism. She was the center of our world in a small Texas town, charismatic, manipulative, the woman who demanded perfection but gave none in return. I was the scapegoat, blamed for her failures, while my brother was the golden child she shielded. I escaped, building a new family with my partner and our adopted daughter Lily. But when old patterns resurfaced in my own home, a secret inheritance scheme tied to my cousin's son, Noah, I realized the family I built was echoing the one I fled. This is the story of what happens when the cycle repeats. A realization that forced me to break it, fight for Noah, and rebuild a family that loves unconditionally. The story. I grew up in a dusty town in West Texas, where the horizon stretched endlessly and my mother's control felt just as vast. My mother, Lorraine, was a force, beautiful, demanding, a school teacher who ruled her classroom and our home with an iron fist disguised as love. My father, George, was her silent partner, a oil rig worker who came home exhausted and stayed that way. They presented a picture of Southern resilience, but behind closed doors, my childhood was a minefield of conditional affection and blame. From as early as I can remember, I was the target. My mother saw me as a reflection of her failures, too sensitive, too questioning, too different. When I came out as genderqueer at 16, she dismissed it as a rebellion, saying, "Don't make this about you, your brother needs stability." My brother Ethan was her golden boy, strong, compliant, the child she doted on. Ethan got the praise, the extra helpings, the freedom. I got the criticism, the chores, the endless lectures about being a disappointment. Survival meant navigating her moods, hiding when she was angry, performing when she needed to show off her happy family. School was my refuge. I joined the counseling club, volunteered at a local shelter, and buried myself in books about family dynamics. I wasn't Ethan's kind of star, but I was empathetic. I won a state scholarship for counseling and earned admission to the University of Texas. When I told my parents, hoping for pride, my mother said, "That's fine, Sage, but Ethan's football team is going to state. That's our priority." My father grunted. I left for college with a suitcase and a vow to break the cycle. College was my escape. I was Sage, not Lorraine's disappointment, not Ethan's shadow. I majored in counseling, interned at a family therapy clinic, and found a community that embraced my genderqueer identity. I started therapy to unpack the PTSD and anxiety from my childhood, panic attacks triggered by criticism, nightmares of my mother's rages. My therapist, Dr. Ramirez, helped me name the trauma: narcissistic parenting, scapegoating, emotional neglect. I graduated with honors and landed a job as a family counselor in Austin, helping families break cycles of abuse. My apartment in South Austin was a cozy haven of books and calming decor, a space where I could finally breathe. I met my partner Jamie at 28, a kind, supportive teacher who saw me for me. We adopted Lily at 30, a 5-year-old with her own traumas, and I thought I'd built the family I'd always wanted. But echoes of my past crept in. My anxiety making me overprotective, my fear of failure pushing me to perfectionism. When Lily acted out, I caught myself snapping, mirroring my mother's tone. The cycle was repeating, and I vowed to stop it. The secret came to light when I was 32, during a family reunion in our Texas home. Lorraine was there, still commanding, charming the relatives. My best friend Kara's son Noah was there too. Kara, the only person who'd ever seen through Lorraine's facade, had died 3 years earlier in a car accident. Her ex-husband, Ben, had custody of Noah, but he was unreliable, often ghosting my texts. I'd tried to stay in Noah's life, sending books and calling when I could, but Ben made it hard. At the reunion, Lorraine was her usual self, leading games and posing for photos. But Noah was quiet, his brown eyes fixed on the ground, his hands fidgeting with a toy truck. I noticed a bruise on his arm, faint but unmistakable. When I asked him about it, he whispered, "I fell." Lorraine quickly changed the subject, pulling Noah into a group photo, but my counselor instincts screamed that something was wrong. Later, I took Noah to the backyard, where the Texas stars twinkled and the air smelled of mesquite and earth. "Noah," I said gently, "is everything okay with Ben?" He hesitated, then whispered, "He's always mad. Lorraine visits sometimes, says she's helping, but she just ignores me or takes my stuff, like Mom's ring." My heart stopped. Kara's diamond ring, an heirloom meant for Noah, was gone. I'd seen Lorraine wearing a similar one earlier, glinting against her blouse. That night, I couldn't sleep, my mind racing with Noah's words and Lorraine's ring. I'd noticed other signs: Lorraine's new jewelry, her boasts about investments. Was she stealing from Noah's inheritance? The next morning, I confronted her in her office, a chic room of velvet and gold accents that smelled of lavender and ambition. My father was there, reading a community newsletter, his presence a silent buffer. "Why are you staying with Ben?" I demanded, holding up a photo of Noah's bruise. Lorraine's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing. "I'm just helping out," she said, her voice tight. "Don't start drama, Sage," my father muttered, not looking up. But I pressed, my voice rising. "What about Kara's ring? Noah said it's gone, and I saw you wearing it." Lorraine's face hardened. "You're imagining things," she snapped. "I'm managing Noah's trust, that's all." My father sighed. "Let it go, Sage." But I didn't. "Managing his trust?" I said, my heart pounding. "Ben's a mess, Noah's bruised, and you're dripping in jewelry. What's really going on?" Lorraine's composure cracked, and she let slip the truth. Ben was an addict, and she'd been supervising Noah, funded by my parents. She'd also taken control of Noah's trust, a hefty inheritance Kara had left, claiming it needed proper oversight. The ring, she admitted, was borrowed as a keepsake. I stared at her, my hands trembling. Lorraine had been the source of my childhood trauma, her rages, her favoritism, her conditional love. But now she was using Noah to secure her ego. The family I'd escaped was repeating in the one I'd built, and I refused to let the cycle continue. I walked out, vowing to protect Noah and break the pattern for Lily and me. Taking a stand. That night I called Child Protective Services, CPS, reporting suspected neglect. The caseworker, Maria, interviewed Noah and confirmed my fears. Ben's addiction had worsened, and Lorraine was barely present, often leaving Noah alone or dismissing his needs. CPS placed Noah in temporary foster care, and I filed for emergency custody. As a family counselor, I'd helped families break cycles, but this was personal. I knew the system's flaws: overworked caseworkers, biased courts, but I couldn't let Noah stay in that environment. I also hired a lawyer to investigate Noah's trust. Lorraine was furious, calling me to scream, "You're trying to ruin my life! I'm his guardian, not you!" Her words triggered a panic attack, the PTSD flaring, but Dr. Ramirez helped me stay grounded. She'd been competing with me my whole life, but now she was stealing from a child. I refused to let her win. I threw myself into the custody battle, using my counseling skills to build a case. I documented everything: photos of Ben's apartment, texts from Lorraine dismissing Noah's pleas, medical reports noting his bruises. I was fighting for Noah, but also for the child I'd been, the one who'd survived by building walls. My parents took Lorraine's side as always. They called me ungrateful, accused me of jealousy. "Lorraine's doing what's best for Noah," my father said. "You've always been difficult, Sage." They cut me off, but I didn't care. Noah was my priority now. The courtroom battle. The custody battle was brutal. Ben, backed by my parents' money, hired a high-priced lawyer who painted me as an unstable counselor with no parenting experience. Lorraine testified that she'd been selflessly caring for Noah, claiming I was motivated by spite. My parents took the stand, saying I'd always been rebellious and unstable, twisting my PTSD into evidence of unfitness. I fought back with evidence: photos of Ben's apartment, CPS reports, texts from Lorraine telling Noah to stop whining. I called character witnesses: my clinic director who praised my integrity, my therapist who testified to my recovery, and Kara's sister who confirmed Kara would have wanted me to protect Noah. Most importantly, I had Noah's voice. In a closed session, he described Ben's rages and Lorraine's neglect, his voice trembling but clear. His drawings, dark sketches of a house filled with yelling, broke my heart and swayed the judge. The turning point came when I uncovered Lorraine's financial motive. Using my lawyer's forensic accountant, I found bank records showing Lorraine had siphoned funds from Noah's trust for expenses. Her social media showed luxury handbags, designer coats, and trips to Dallas, paid for with Noah's money. When I presented this in court, Lorraine's charm cracked. She stammered, claiming it was temporary borrowing, but the judge wasn't convinced. The trust battle was equally fierce. My lawyer proved Lorraine's mismanagement, and the court froze the trust, appointing me as temporary trustee. The judge granted me temporary custody, with a plan for permanent guardianship if Ben and Lorraine didn't meet CPS requirements. Noah moved into my South Austin apartment, and for the first time, I saw him relax. His shoulders no longer hunched in fear. Building a home. Life with Noah was a gift. I turned my spare room into a space for him, with bookshelves, a desk, and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. He was wary at first, scared to trust, but we built a routine: school, therapy, community garden projects. Noah loved plants, his small hands tending to seedlings with care. My PTSD and anxiety flared, panic attacks at night, fears of failing him, but Dr. Ramirez helped me stay grounded. I kept my job, leading family counseling groups. My colleagues became my support system, helping with Noah's school pickups when I was at meetings. Lorraine and Ben faded from our lives. Ben failed his sobriety tests, and Lorraine lost interest in the parenting classes. My parents faced legal scrutiny for enabling Lorraine's theft, their reputation tarnished. They tried to guilt me into reconciling, but I set boundaries, refusing to let their toxicity back in. The path to healing. Over the years, Noah thrived. He joined the school's environmental club, his passion for conservation mirroring mine. We built traditions: Friday pizza nights, Saturday hikes in Barton Springs, holiday gardening sessions where soil ended up everywhere. One day he called me Sage, then paused and said, "You're like my parent." I hugged him tight, my heart full. My career soared. I led a national campaign for foster care reform, earning recognition as Austin's Family Advocate of the Year. I started a podcast about breaking abuse cycles, connecting with listeners who'd faced similar traumas. My chosen family, friends, colleagues, Noah's teachers, became my anchor. My parents softened, sending emails, but I kept my distance. Lorraine moved to Houston, chasing another scheme, and I let her go. A new family. At Noah's high school environmental fair, I watched him present a project on sustainable gardening, his voice strong and clear. He dedicated it to me, saying, "Sage showed me how to grow, even in hard places." I hugged him, tears in my eyes, knowing I'd given him the safety I'd never had. The family I built echoed the one I escaped, but breaking the cycle saved Noah and set me free. I'm Sage Rivera, counselor, guardian, survivor, and I've created a family that loves without echoes of the past.